Welcome to today's comparison. This one features Lee Priest and Flex James Lewis. I decided to go with the Grand Prix Hungary 1997 version of Lee Priest. This is one of my favorite renditions of this man. He is massive, striated, just one of the best. Flex James Lewis, I decided to go with the 2014 Pro Prog just to shake things up. I know there's lots of repeat versions and this and that on other channels, and I don't want to do that. I want to keep things fresh, and furthermore, this introduces you guys to different versions of these men. Unfortunately, there was no front relaxed besides this one here, and it's unfair. Flex James Lewis, not even flexed. That's his nickname. Anyway, enough of that foolishness. I guess that was a joke. Side relaxed. And if you guys know me, you know that I hate using this as a judging tool. Couldn't get the sizes correctly, and the angle is really hurting Flex's leg. It makes it look so small. And it was hard to, like I said, hard to get the sizes correctly. But you can definitely see a thickness in the pecs of Lee Priest and a tiny, minute size of a waistline there. So there is going to be trouble, I believe, in many poses for Flex James Lewis. Let's have a look at the back developments of these gentlemen, so to speak. I'm sure now you are quite pleasantly surprised at the conditioning of Lee Priest. Not only that, but he is massive. I can definitely see glutes on Mr. Priest. Not only that, but those hamstrings. I don't think I've ever seen hamstrings and lag development so thick, coupled with that muscle separation and just conditioning. And look at Lee Priest's lower back. And of course, those calves. He has the calves of a big man, of a 1990s competitor. Now that we are all done drooling all over Lee Priest's back, I mean, Flex James Lewis, what can you say? He's not as big, but he sure is dry and striated everywhere. It's a good thing that Lee Priest brought this conditioning. I honestly like Lee Priest in the symmetry round a little bit more, but that conditioning of those glutes, I don't know, of Flex James Lewis, it's a tight one in the symmetry round. Front double bicep pose, and I know Flex isn't really hitting this to spec, but I don't think it matters. Just that freakiness, that freak factor that Lee Priest brings with the arms, bigger set of arms, and then boom, that waistline goes so small. We're talking Sean Ray size waistline here. Just unbelievable. Let's bring up a 2014 Arnold's Classics version of Flex James Lewis just to get the pose hit to spec. And it's plain to see Lee Priest, if he was around now, I mean, he would probably be a 212er, and he would probably be an 8 or 9 time Mr. Olympia champion, 212. Hard to say, though, guys, really, with the weight restrictions. I don't know exactly how much Lee Priest weighed. All right, let's carry on with the poses. This is a front lat spread. Doesn't show the whole body for actually Flex Lewis. And we are safe to assume that Lee's legs might be better. But it is plain to see that Flex is favored slightly in this pose when it comes to the lat development. But I must say, as far as the pecs, as far as the waistline, I would really like to see both of their full bodies. Lee Priest, he may have potential to get a victory in this pose. But as of this shot, slight edge to Flex. Side chest pose, there is no slight edge for anybody in this one. It is a dominant shot for Lee Priest. Oh my soul, this version of Lee Priest is probably my favorite personally. I remember I did the judging, and maybe Arnold Classic 2002 version of Lee Priest might have edged out a victory just to the little slight edge in conditioning, but I probably should have went with this version. Look at that hanging hamstring, are you kidding me? It appears Flex James Lewis, his pec spreads over a nice decent area, but it looks flat. Looks flat to me. Lee Priest, no doubt, gets a point here. Side tricep. This is an even more dominant shot for Lee Priest. He is running roughshod over this version of Flex James Lewis, and this leaves some doors open for some controversy. You guys can go ahead and comment and say this is not Flex's best version. It's not, I'll admit that. But this is arguably not Lee Priest's best version either. Just an awesome version. So Flex loses both of the side shots. He could be in trouble. And we are looking at the back development. Even though this is unfair, hard to really see the silhouette of Lee Priest. Or silhouette, sorry. I'll stop being foolish for this one. It's more serious. Flex James Lewis, his conditioning, he will arguably get all of the back shots. But I'm just blown away by the conditioning of Lee Priest. But anyway, let's say slightly inconclusive because you don't get a good silhouette. I mean, Lee Priest might be a Boeing 747 in this shot. Who knows? Rear double bicep pose. Now this one gives us a glimpse of just how awesome Lee Priest was at the 1997 Grand Prix Hungary. Probably my best version overall. Maybe not the best from some of the front shots, but this back development, I don't think I've ever seen. Just from the hamstrings to the glutes, my soul, Lee Priest. Did you know you had striated glutes in 97? Of course, when you think about it, 97 was his best year, the Mr. Olympia. I don't know. That separation, the muscle of Flex James Lewis sure does look awesome. He is probably displayed a little nicer. He's maybe better at posing. Who knows, really? All I see is hamstring dominance, calf dominance, and Lee's even winning in the trap department. It is close, I'm here to tell you, in both back shots, and this is not the way that I thought this matchup would go at all. Here in the ab and thigh, and this is going to make my overall decision much, much easier. Lee Priest is a phenom in this shot, and on the contrary, Flex James Lewis, one of the worst ab and thighs I've ever seen. And I know I get some comments every once in a while when I pick apart somebody's physique. Guys, I'm doing a video on Flex Lewis because he is one of the most incredible built men in the history. So excuse me if I find one of his body parts not quite so up to par. When I look over at Lee Priest, he looks like a Greek god in this shot. Look at those abs. Perfect symmetry. I mean, compare these abs with anyone's. Flex Wheeler's, just so far dominance. Maybe Sean Ray would give him a good go. Either way, this is a dominant victory for Lee Priest. There was actually no most muscular for Lee at the Grand Prix Hungary. This is from the Mr. Olympia, and it's 97. Who knows, the Grand Prix Hungary might even have been better. But in 97, they didn't even judge this pose, but they all did it, so I would have judged it, of course. In which case, really reinforces my overall choice, and I am sure you guys all know who I am picking for my overall winner in this one. Lee Priest, 1997 Grand Prix Hungary, was superior to the Pro Prog 2014. Flex James Lewis, no disrespect meant to Flex James Lewis, of course, that was not his best version. But either way, maybe we'll have a rematch between these two. Hard to say. Flex, just not the quality. He doesn't have the quality of muscle that Lee Priest possesses. I mean, look at just the vascularity level and the conditioning, and not to mention the proportions, guys. When you look at the little tiny waistline, just massive arms and limbs. Anyway, guys, I was a little extra serious in this one, and I am honestly about to burst, so I'm going to do a little Arnold impression just because it's in me.
Oh, do it now. Come on. I'm right here. Get to the chopper. The chopper won't touch us till we reach the border. Fall into positions and situations. Don't forget to hit thumbs up. I'm not copying off the Terminator. The Terminator. He says, I'll be back. And I'm not going to do that. Oh, shoot. I just did it. Don't forget to fall into position and situation.